I'm Roniel.
I'm DaRon. In today's episode, we're going to go over how to install and run AspCrypt. We, of course, have a release already done for this. You could just grab the release and execute either of the two executables inside of it. One is, of course, Decrypt, one is Recrypt. But we're going to do it using Writer and looking at the code itself. So the first thing that we've done is we've already downloaded and unzipped the package. You can just open it up. In my case, I'm using Writer. You could be using Visual Studio, whatever makes you happy. And this is what you should see when you open it up. You have Recrypt and Decrypt in here. These are two different applications. Decrypt will only decrypt the provided token and feed that token back to you, whereas Recrypt will decrypt the token, but it then does three things, potentially three things. The first thing that it will do is it will update the expiry of the provided token. So if you provided an expired token, it will respond with a token that is now completely valid, no longer expired. You can also update the username and user data within that ASP.NET token or ticket. One of the main reasons why you would use Decrypt is if all you needed to do was show what the data is, or maybe you just wanted to know what data was in the ticket. Whereas Recrypt will give you that extra step after you've obtained the machine keys or brute force the machine keys or what have you. Recrypt will then allow you to try to see if you can't escalate privileges, change your user, and things of that nature. But it's all based on what is inside of the ticket and how that ticket happens to be used. In the future, we're going to have Recrypt and Decrypt not only allow you to try to brute force the machine keys, but also it will work with the view state data. It's not doing that yet, but it will in the future. One of the biggest things that you have to make sure you do when you're working with Recrypt or Decrypt is adjust the appropriate app.config if you are operating in the source code. If you're working instead with either of the two releases, you will see a decrypt config and a recrypt config file. You just change whatever machine key is in there to whatever machine key you have stolen. Make sure when you do this, if there are any compatibility mode settings that need to be set, that you do that. And of course, make sure you get the validation and decryption modes also properly set. But if you take a web.config, you should be able to just take whatever you have and slam it right in either of the two config files, or as appropriate, the executable config files from the release. No matter what the case is, you should then be good to go and able to run either of these two without any problems. I will point out when it changes the expiry, when it updates the expiry, it's going to just add 60 minutes to whatever the current time is when this ticket happens to be generated. You can change this behavior if you want to, for example, create a ticket that lasts for years or months. You can just as easily tweak this, run it, and then operate on that. And it will be a fully formed, fledged ticket. This means that you can take an expired session, and we can move it forward however long we want. To run this is actually very simple. All we're going to go through and do is we hit run. You can hit run ellipses and then pick between either decrypt or recrypt. In this case, I went to recrypt. The first prompt is asking you if you want to change some other data. If you knew ahead of time the kind of structure this had, and you knew maybe your username and things of that nature, you could just hit that O right off the bat, enter in your new data, and away you go. I don't know what this token happens to have, what this ticket happens to have, so I'm just going to paste in my ticket. So we paste in the ticket, and as promised, the first thing that it does is it decrypts it. And we can see that username right here, and we can see the user data. So user data is 123. That's probably the user ID. This looks like it's the ASP.NET session. It probably isn't using it in any meaningful way. And this flag here says false. Maybe that dictates whether or not someone's an administrator. Maybe it's something tied to the user interface. I don't know. Maybe it's something tied to additional functionality that you as user can have, or privileges, things of that nature. So what we're going to do is we're going to change three pieces of data. We're going to change the username, we're going to change that user ID, and then we'll change this false to true. The other thing we notice is the expiry on this. We are going to bump that expiry up, but we don't have to do anything on our side because it will automatically bump it up. And we can see that here where this expiry was 1102 and now it's 1109. So what we're going to do is we're going to press O. O is going to operate on the last ticket provided. Not the last generated ticket, but the last ticket provided to the system. In this case, that's the original ticket. Username, let's change this to admin. And then the desired data. So we remember it was user ID, then there was a session ID, it looked like. So we're going to just copy that in here. And then they have false, and we're going to change false to true. I hit enter, and here's my nice newly minted ticket. So I'm going to copy my ticket out. And we see it bumped up that expiry for us yet again. While this one was issued at 10/11, it won't expire until 11/11. The next thing we can do, if we want to validate this ticket, just because, I don't know, I guess maybe we don't believe this system does what it claims it does, we can go through and we can change the data yet again, or we can just paste in our new ticket and see what the new ticket actually decrypted to. So the new ticket decrypted to admin. This data is exactly how we set it. The expiry is exactly what this one claimed here. So everything works. It bumped up that expiry yet again and fed us a new ticket, which we can then use. Now what we do is we take this new ticket, we send it to the information system, whatever it happens to be, and in most cases, you're going to find yourself now authenticated as admin, user ID 1, you'll still be in this session, and whatever in the world this flag does, it's now been changed. So that's it for this episode of the Roniel and DaRon podcast show. I hope you enjoyed it.
This is our time. I'm Roniel.
I'm DaRon.
And if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more episodes like this one. Until the next time.
Have fun.